Welcome to the Iferia TechCast, where we bring you all things science, engineering, technology, and innovation. I'm your host, Ezekiel Iferia, and today we are joined by Benas Leonavicius, a freelance SEO specialist who has reverse engineered the principles of agency growth to build a remarkably lean six-figure solo business. Rejecting the traditional hustle model, Ben has designed a system that pairs deep technical skill with a methodical client strategy, working with just 4 to 6 long-term clients to achieve 80% profit margins. A decade in the making, his approach is a masterclass in building a business that values sustainability and freedom over relentless skill. In this episode, we'll explore how to architect a referral engine, design profitable service packages, and engineer a career that works for you, not the other way around. So, Benas, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you so much for having me and for such a well thought introduction.
It's great to have you here. So, let's get started. Your story starts with writing articles for pocket money over 10 years ago. What was the first moment you realized this side gig could actually become your main gig and replace a traditional job?
Actually, it took me a very long time to realize that because I started my first writing articles, or as I can say, like first freelancing thing started like first year in university, but I never really imagined it to be more than that. So basically, during my university years, and even after university, it was just something that I kind of kept sustaining me. It kept me, I could sort of afford some things. I could live off of that. So but it was nothing really too crazy. I still imagine that my future is to work at a traditional. At that time, I even was imagining to work at Google or Apple or companies like that. And then I finished university, and I was actually quite intensely looking to find a job. And I actually found a marketing agency that accepted me. And I kind of went back to Lithuania because I studied abroad, got back here and started working. And that was not my first 9 to 5 job. I already had like some experience working in some other companies, some other internships, some in Lithuania, some abroad. But this was kind of the real deal, as I imagined it. But unfortunately, actually, I was fired from that agency like just less than 2 months in because they were hiring for a manager and they kind of needed a lot of. I have no idea even how I got that job because looking back, it seems that I wasn't really qualified. I wasn't able to lead people. I was more of a, better with kind of doing tasks, taking sort of directions and stuff like that, especially at that time. So I think the way I got that job was kind of a miracle, but I'm not surprised why I was fired. However, at that time, I felt really, really bad about it. And I kind of felt angry at the whole 9 to 5 like industry for like firing me and stuff like that. And at that time, I decided, hey, let me give this freelancing thing a shot. So I'm already kind of doing it. I'm already earning, but I never really fully committed to it. It was always a side thing. And like I think after 3 to 4 months, I realized that why I was even bothering like with this marketing agency or any other job because I was able to scale my income pretty quickly. And to be honest, by the end of that year, I earned more, like I think 2 or 3 times more than I would have earned if I would just stayed at the marketing agency. And that is the moment I realized, "Oh, this is just something that I definitely can do on my own."
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that interesting story with us, Benas. So you have built a six-figure business working with just 4 to 6 clients at a time. So that seems almost serene compared to the hustle culture we hear about. So how did you figure out that less could actually be more, both for your income and your sanity?
Yeah, I mean, I made probably every mistake that every freelancer ever makes. So I kind of went for the whole circle. But what I realized that at some point that first of all, charging hourly is definitely not an option as a freelancer, because you are tying your worth and your work to the number of hours you work instead of the output and the service you provide. So that's kind of the first step, that once you stop charging per hour and start charging fixed fee for the outcomes, this is already kind of a step forward to a way better freelancing career. But the next thing I found out that it's best to find a specific service that doesn't require all of the time for you to do, because I had like freelancing clients that I had them on retainers, but I was only able to have like maximum like 2 clients at a time because I was working all day every day for them. So my mentality changed when I figured, okay, what is the service that I could provide that doesn't take me like 40 hours per week to do, but instead it takes me like 5 or 10 hours per week to do, but it's very valuable to the client, and client is willing to pay that basically the same rate as I was charging other clients. And that was kind of the whole secret here. And then I found I was starting to look at different niches and found people that basically are willing to pay. They see value in what I do, and I can actually provide outcome to them that they're very happy with. So they're basically getting the biggest ROI on their money. And this is what allows me to work with like 4 to 6 clients at a time, because the services that I provide do not require, working full time. Each different client requires me, an hour or two per day, which means I can handle quite a lot of clients at the same time. And besides that, it's just also all about, this is what I kind of realized only this year, well, last year now, that it's all about
Yeah.
building systems and organizing things. So I started sort of using all of the productivity hacks out there to make sure that I'm not spending time where it's not necessary. Because for me, if I
Mm,
can spend even less time but provide the same outcome,
mm.
then it's kind of a win-win. I worked less hours. That means I get paid more actually per hour if we like calculate that. And then that means I can actually take on more clients. So I kind of built the whole lean agency model that I have.
All right, all right. So, can you walk us through the early struggle? What did the feast or famine cycle actually feel like for you? And what was the first practical change you made to start smoothing that out?
Yeah. So one of the kind of mistakes that I see a lot of freelancers fall in, and I felt for the same thing, is that I found a marketing agency for which we started working, as a simple freelance contractor, but we had a very good working relationship. And as time kind of went on, I was starting to just do more and more for them, and it kind of slowly but evolved to a sort of a full-time position where I was even sort of one of the main sort of managers then at one point for that marketing agency. I was being sort of pulled into like meetings, random meetings, client meetings, and it's kind of just from freelancer, I was being transitioned into a full-time employee. And I mean, that was definitely my mistake, because I kind of agreed to do more and more because I was very happy with their work and I wanted to kind of make them also sort of feel good about this. So, but it was not good for my freelancing career, because what happened is that at some point that just one client, I mean, took like 80% of my time. So what I finally did is I first of all, I had to realize that this is not okay, but it's very difficult to pull away from something that has a very stable income, you have a very good relationship. So it's kind of scary and difficult to stop doing that and then start to pursue something new. I think a lot of freelancers fall into this trap and then they never leave. That's why, it's all, they're kind of just grinding and not getting anywhere. What I realized is that I needed to change the way I still work with that agency till this day. It's been like what, 7 years that we've been working together. But good part is that I actually changed my contract with them. So actually, I went in and I renegotiated. My current fixed fee is way less than I used to get before. I don't have any profit sharing agreement, but that allowed me to actually go and figure out how do I actually want to work as a freelancer. And the biggest thing was to realize that I need a very clear service, very clear outcome, and a very clear boundaries. because if I don't have these three key aspects, then every retainer client that I'm going to work with, they're just going to slowly but surely evolve into some sort of a more to look like a 9 to 5 job than a freelance contract.
All right. All right. Thank you very much for that really amazing response. So, a huge part of your model is moving from one-off projects to long-term retainers. So how do you start that conversation with a client? Like, what's the shift in how you present your value?
So nowadays, I actually don't even offer one time projects anymore. I found out that the outcome that I want to sell, I mean, I work in search engine optimization. So my main outcome for all of my clients is getting either more leads, more income, more traffic to their website that actually converts. So this is what is the most important thing for my clients. And what I found, I mean, I used to do like one-off projects, but I found that usually people who need one time things with SEO especially are the ones that usually can do the rest by themselves. So it was very difficult for me to transition from one time projects to retainer clients with these types of people because they already knew kind of SEO. They only needed the keyword research, they needed SEO audit, they needed some technical things, and then they basically handled the rest either in house or by their own. So I figured that it's not worth for me to offer one time project because the time it takes to acquire one client, it doesn't matter if it's a retainer or one off project, is basically the same. So it's the same effort, it's the same time to sign the contract and everything like that. But then one time project ends like in a week or 2 weeks time, whereas a retainer client can be with me for like a couple of years time. So I stopped offering. I mean, I do sometimes offer if I see a potential that that client might turn into a retainer, but that's a very rare thing. So nowadays whoever comes to me, I just say, hey, the main thing that I offer is organic traffic growth and keyword ranking, which by default requires a long-term relationship to work with us. So that is the main thing.
All right. All right. Benas, so can you help us demystify SEO a bit for the non-expert? So in simple terms, what's one
Mhm.
thing businesses most often get wrong about getting fond of Google, and what's the straightforward fix?
That's a difficult question. Well, first of all, SEO is just to explain whoever is sort of listening. Search engine optimization. The main goal is to basically get a website to rank for a specific keyword. So let's say you are an e-commerce shop and you sell tea. Then in order to sell more tea, you might want to rank for something like where to buy green tea, similar keywords like that. So whoever's typing in Google, in Bing, in whatever else other search engine, or even nowadays AI search is also a thing. People are typing that keyword, and whoever appears first, let's say on Google, this is the result that usually gets the most clicks, which means it gets the most revenue or leads. So my job is basically to help websites rank for those keywords. I think a lot of people feel that SEO is something that I can go into the website and click some settings that basically, I press a few buttons and it magically starts ranking. So I think there are people still feel that SEO is easy and it just requires some sort of a optimization and then magically you will start ranking. That is unfortunately not true. There is a lot. SEO is complicated. That's why I feel there's a big sort of knowledge gap between what people think SEO is and when they come to me. Like part of my job is actually explaining how SEO works and what is the process, what is the timeline, what are expectations. Because many clients that came to me, they usually expect the results after 1 month, and I say that is not really how Google works. If it would be possible to rank somebody in just 1 month, then every single month Google results would change because everybody would be ranking that easily. So unfortunately, there is no like one quick, easy fix. It's kind of I think a lot of people might be able to relate to, when companies build brands and brands have some sort of a Like if you imagine like Apple, you already imagine some of the keywords that goes with it. So in order to build that, it's not something that you can do in one day. It's a long and tedious process, and SEO is just the same.
All right. Thanks for that. You know, little insights you just shared with us. I think it will go a long way to helping someone. You balance client work with building your personal brand on YouTube. I'd like to know, how do you guard your time and energy? Like, do you block out specific days, or is there like a rule you follow to keep one from consuming the other?
Yeah, I mean, I've been it was a weird, like it's kind of a hobby slash personal brand slash kind of everything. I don't know. I was always fascinated with YouTube. So my first like real video where I published kind of with the intent to actually do something with YouTube was like 2019. So like what, 6 years ago now, more than that. And it had its ups and downs throughout those 6 years. Some years I uploaded 2 videos, other years 30 videos. So it really was based on how I feel. And I think right now I made every single video possible, from tech reviews, product reviews, fitness content, talking about freelancing. So end of the day, now I think I finally like organically developed a system where I know what videos I want to make. I have a whole Notion table with all of the ideas where I collect. I know how to write scripts. I know how to make thumbnails, which are a lot easier. I have an editor that helps me with editing. So it's basically allowed now. Creating videos is a lot faster and easier because I've had, all these years kind of learning how to do things. I used to edit my own videos. I used to try out a lot of things, experiment. But I think I found basically a way to make videos as easy as possible. Even for example, this I have the microphone, I have the setup with the lights and everything. So I just made it as easy as possible. So right now, it doesn't really consume that much time for me. Planning takes like, sometimes I block out some certain hours, where I need like 1 to 2 hours of planning. And I usually can plan for like 2 to 3 videos at a time, because now I know what I'm talking about. Now I just made the process as easy as possible. And then I block out one day like every other week to film. Again, I do like to film in batches. So I film like 2 to 3 videos at a time. So, and I publish basically more or less weekly. So one filming session basically is 3 weeks worth of content. And then I have an editor that actually edits it. And we have I've been working with him for like a few years now. So he knows exactly how to edit the videos. We don't really need any feedback on that. Technically, it's just a couple of hours per week to have this YouTube channel running. So it doesn't take a lot of my time from the all of my client work.
All right. So looking back, I'd like to know, biggest, what was the misconception you had about what it takes to build a successful freelance business that you had to unlearn over time?
Good question. I'm not sure. Biggest misconception, I suppose. I thought it's gonna be like easier. Yeah, I think that was the biggest kind of. I thought like freelancing, especially when I started working, I thought it's gonna be easier to do. But it's not that the work itself is difficult. It's more of the if you have a if you work at a company and you have a contract with them, then you're basically like set. You know what is expected of you. You have one employer. You have I mean, yes, you can get fired, but I think psychologically, for a lot of people, at least that's how I imagined when I was, working at companies. It's very easy. You once your work ends at 5, you go home. You can forget all about your work. It doesn't matter. You come tomorrow and you do, all of the things that needed to be done. With freelancing, you never really switch off. So you don't have that, it doesn't matter that, you finish work at 5, emails might still can come in, notifications might come in. You are actually thinking about how to kind of get those next clients, because clients do change way more often than, for example, if you work at a traditional job. So I think at some point that freelancing might be easier, but it's not, because it takes a lot of mental toll on you. So now I think I'm handling it way, way better than I used to before. I'm way more comfortable with uncertainty. I don't know what's going to happen in like 6 months or a year's time, but now I'm way more comfortable with that feeling than I was before. So I think this was the biggest thing that biggest misconception that I had when I started freelancing.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, for the students or early career professionals who are dreaming of independence, so what's one piece of advice you'd give about managing the fear of uncertainty that comes with not having a regular paycheck?
If you already work at a company, I think one of the best things that you can do is you don't need to quit your job or do anything like that, but just you can probably try like a couple of things and see if freelancing is even for you. Like I've actually met a lot of people who quit their jobs, tried freelancing, but they found out that this whole thing is not for them because they don't like the uncertainty, don't like the feeling. Even if the money might be better off in a year's time, it's just some people prefer it easier. But for you to know that, you kind of need to at least try. So what I would suggest somebody to try is look at your job and see, especially an office and sort of job that you can do, like on your laptop, that you do sort of at your laptop while working at a company. See if there is specific outcome that your boss really likes from you. Is there something that he really appreciates? This is something that you might be able to turn into what's called like a productized service, where, okay, you take that specific outcome, not your whole job, but like a specific thing that you can do. Because if your boss likes it, there's likely there are other people in the world that also need that particular outcome as well. What if you make a checklist, make templates, organize things, basically make it as efficient as possible to deliver that outcome, and then you go in and then you try to just with a simple outreach just check to see if there are other similar types of people like your boss. It might be smaller companies, for example, if you work at big corporate company, that might need that specific outcome. And you only need like 1 to 2 people to actually get as clients to see if this might work for you. Because what you might find is that if this is something that you can replicate and you can do, instead of working for one employer, you can do like 3 or 5 clients at a time, you can, 3 to 5 times your income this way. This is definitely something I would suggest people to at least give it a try and see if this is something that you're even interested in, because it might open your eyes.
All right. If, say, for example, let's create a scenario. Say you had to rebuild from zero today with all your experience, but no clients and no audience. What would be the very first thing you'd focus on doing?
I'd okay. So the first thing is it's outreaching to people. If I had nothing at this point, one of the best things of how you can get clients is actually do what's like simple cold outreach. That can be email, that can be LinkedIn, that can be cold calling people. I mean, it's difficult for people to do because people don't like rejection. So if I email like 5 people and I hear nothing, or if I called 5 people and they all said no, a lot of people say, "Oh, that this is feels horrible. I don't like it," and and they quit. But it's very, very effective actually. So it just takes you like it probably would take me like a month's time to actively, maybe even faster. I mean, to this day, it's probably a lot faster. But like, if I'm just thinking, if I'm kind of starting out, it probably might take me a month to find 1 or 2 clients to get started to work. And it's very simple. Just find a specific outcome that you can provide. Well, I would actually figure out my specific outcome. And I wouldn't call or email everyone. That's also a mistake. I would find what is the specific niche of people that I can sort of reach out for that specific outcome. That can be like, maybe that can be doctors, that maybe that can be SaaS founders, maybe that can be like book authors. Like you have to find a specific niche which has a specific problem, and you have to find a specific how you can solve that problem. So I would narrow it down based on my skills, my ability. I would narrow it down. I would find where those people hang out. Is it better to call them as if it's a local business? Or maybe it's book offers that have like big LinkedIn presences. So I would like connect with them on LinkedIn. And all you do is just say, hey, I'm doing this and that. If you have this problem, I have this solution for you. You might need to actually, do this for like 100 or 150 times, but it is effective. Like you will get clients this way. So 90 days of billing, 1 month is just cold outreach to get like free clients maybe. Then deliver amazing work for these clients over the next month and a half, and then you start actually asking those clients, hey, do you know anyone else that might need my services? And usually people are very willing to actually refer you if you did a good job. So this is how you kind of turn your freelancing career from nothing to an actual business.
All right. So, Ben, as part of the theme of this podcast is centered around innovation, and for that reason, I like to reserve like one question on innovation for the
Hmm.
guest I have a conversation with. So, after a decade of building a business that fits your life, I'd like to know, what does innovation truly mean to you in this context now?
I suppose innovation for me is in my freelancing career, it's kind of like, now that I think about it, what I did last year, what I did the year before, what I did like 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Like it seems like I had to uh, innovate to find new ways of either finding clients, either working, improving some systems, improving the way kind of I work, learning. So for me, it feels that it's kind of a never ending thing. You have to always innovate to find new ways of approaching clients, making sales, delivering the outcome. So it's something that is very, I think, very tied to freelancing because I believe the freelancers that don't innovate in their way of the way that they work is actually the ones that are kind of are left behind. The ones that are kind of struggling and the ones that are always searching for clients. And I feel you have to be always at the top of your game, which means you always have to think about what is the next thing I can innovate in terms of the way I work, my process. So this is what it means, I think, for me.
Great one, dear Benas. So, finally, for the freelancers and other enthusiasts who want to see your journey and learn more from your practical approach, so where is the best place for them to go?
Definitely my YouTube channel. I mean, I talk about very specific things on the YouTube channel. I mean, I also share like my own journey, what I'm doing, how I'm scaling my business, my agency, but I also share just practical things like how to do sales calls, how to do discovery calls, how to cold outreach, how to talk to people. So it has a lot of information. So it's probably going to be linked somewhere. So my YouTube channel is the best place to find all of the information about me and freelancing as well.
All right, all right. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And I'll be sure to have it linked to the show notes of this podcast. So, Benas, it's been a really interesting time having a conversation with you. And I am very excited and honored to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Ezekiel. I'm very glad that I was able to be a guest on your show.